Here's a fact that might surprise you. Some frozen meals contain nearly double the sodium of a fast food combo. Others pack fat numbers that blow even greasy takeout out of the water. Add to that the complaints about soupy potatoes, fake-tasting chicken, and overpowering sauces. And you can see why many frozen foods are failing their promise. In this video, you'll discover 7 clear examples of freezer meals that actually make fast food look like the safer option. Number 1. The pizza that overloads your body. You believe that frozen pizza is a more convenient and less heavy alternative than having pizza delivered. However, the trap is set as soon as the package makes the promise of restaurant taste at home. The package, which features a bubbling crust and toppings that are stacked on top of one another, is meant to inform you that this is an intelligent way to cut down on time in the kitchen. What it conceals is the fact that that shortcut rapidly fills your body with fat, salt, and calories, which you do not become aware of until it is too late to do anything about it. This is the reality of the situation. If you consume a normal frozen pizza before noon, you may exceed your daily salt limit because they contain such a high amount of sodium and fat. That implies that by the time dinner is served, your blood pressure is already under a great deal of stress. You are not providing your body with the sustenance it requires when you incorporate the thick layer of processed cheese. You are only causing it to become weighed down in a single sitting. It is actually 2 or 3 meals that have been disguised as a single meal rather than just one meal. And here's the kicker. When compared to a pizza that is made with fresh ingredients, frozen pizza does not have the same level of balance between its many components. A crust that is designed to absorb oil and salt like a sponge, with far too much thick cheese and an excessive amount of toppings that are piled on in order to give the appearance of generosity, all of which are stuck to the crust with glue. When the grease slick leaves your oven, it will be clear that the bottom line is not taste, but rather excess. Despite the fact that fast food restaurants have their own problems, the slices that they serve are frequently smaller than those found in freezer pizzas, so you may end up incurring less damage if you choose to eat there. Be mindful of the balance of the food on your plate. When it comes to dining out, it is customary for a slice of pizza to be served with either a salad or a beverage. However, when you prepare a frozen pizza at home, you may be tempted to eat the entire pie. And why would you not want to do that? The package claims that it is enough for one person or perhaps 2, but in reality, it is enough for 4 or more. Particularly when you are feeling hungry and are depending on the picture on the front of the package, the design makes it extremely difficult to maintain control. Therefore, the pizza that you find in the frozen section is not providing you with a shortcut. Rather, it is providing you with an overload that is silent, and that remains long after the box has been discarded. Number 2. Breakfast sandwiches. That missed the mark. When you hear the words frozen breakfast sandwich, you are convinced that you have discovered the quick and easy solution. When compared to a biscuit from a drive-thru window, it appears to be more sanitary and guarantees that you will have a consistent source of fuel to get through the morning. The advertisements promise that you will be able to have a hot breakfast in your hand without having to wait, that you will be able to prepare it quickly in the microwave, and that you will be able to take advantage of the protein power. The glossy photograph that is displayed on the shelf displays a balanced arrangement of fluffy bread, eggs that are golden, and meat that is crisp. However, the moment that package makes its way into your freezer, the truth of the situation becomes clear. This is the reality of the situation. A trip through the microwave causes the bread to become thick and wet. The eggs, which were formerly thought of as fresh, turn out to be hard and rubbery, and they occasionally leave an odd flavor in your mouth that serves as a reminder that they have been frozen for months. The sausage or bacon patty is frequently pressed until it is so thin and processed that it hardly looks anything like the photo that is on the cover. It's like you're unwrapping the package and you discover that the air has been drained from your morning before you even get the opportunity to begin your day. And here's the most important point. The flavor does not reward you for taking the shortcut. When compared to a breakfast sandwich purchased at a drive-thru restaurant, the frozen version frequently ends up having a bland taste, despite the fact that it continues to contain a significant amount of sodium. Because of the stealth salt load, you feel more thirsty than full, and your blood pressure is pushed in the incorrect direction as well. Although fast food may not be spectacular, the eggs are cracked and cooked on the same day, which is something to be grateful for. The difference is stark. The expectation is that you will receive fluffy bread and fresh protein, but when you open up the package, you find a flattened, chewy mixture that is nothing like what was promised. Often you add hot sauce, cheese, or more meat just to compensate, which piles on even more fat and sodium. So the payoff isn't convenience, it's disappointment. Sometimes stopping for a dollar menu sandwich actually gives you fresher, hotter food than what's in your freezer. The real cost isn't just in your wallet. It's waking up to marketing hype that feeds you false advertising before you've even poured your coffee. Number 3. TV dinners that should stay in the past. You believe that frozen television dinners are the comfort food that you remember? The convenient tray that brings back memories of evenings spent in front of the television as a child? However, the truth is that these days they hardly ever taste like comfort food. Something that was once considered a curiosity has now become a watered-down imitation of a meal. The promise of a generous serving of turkey or steak with potatoes and veggies is little more than that. A promise that is printed on the side of a cardboard box. Once the lid is peeled back, the defects are obvious for anybody to see. The mashed potatoes typically end up being either watery or glue-like in consistency. Vegetables become waterlogged and lose their fresh flavor when they are submerged in steam. More of a hassle to chew than a major dish to enjoy, the meat is rubbery and tough, and it rests in the middle of the plate. In addition, the gravy that is advertised as rich is frequently thick, tasteless, and paste-like, and it sticks to the sides of the tray rather than enhancing the flavor of the dish. The photographs do not accurately represent what you ultimately receive. It is as though 3 disappointments have been packaged in a single divided box. You are meant to get a variety of textures when you buy this product, but what you actually get are 3 different textures that do not complement each other. Soupy, chewy, and sticky. That combination does not leave you feeling full. Instead, it leaves you with a craving for something else, anything else, in order to feel content. It is not uncommon for a value meal, even if it is consumed quickly, to have a fresher flavor and provide more consistent results. The following is the most important thing to keep in mind. These television dinners rely on convenience alone. Their purpose is to be microwaved, not to taste good. The flavor is drained out by the lengthy freeze, and the reheating process ruins the small amount of texture that remains. You are left with a sense of nostalgia that does not provide any sort of satisfaction instead of the consolation you were hoping for. You leave with the feeling that you have squandered your time as well as your hunger. It is not what you had anticipated when you went in, since you had expected to receive a complete supper on a single tray. Number 4. Chicken nuggets that taste off. Frozen chicken nuggets sound like the safest snack in the freezer. They're bite-sized, quick to reheat, and seem perfect for both kids and adults. The picture on the box makes you believe you'll get golden nuggets with a crunchy shell and tender meat inside. The whole pitch is speed. No fryer, no drive-thru line, just minutes in your oven or microwave. But here's the truth. Most of the time, what comes out of that box doesn't look or feel like the photos at all. Instead of crisp pieces, you often wind up with soggy lumps. The breading soaks up steam when cooked in a microwave, leaving the outside spongy and limp. Bite into one and the inside tells the bigger story. Rather than firm, juicy chicken, the texture is closer to pressed filler that falls apart as you chew. It's as if you're biting into breaded rubber instead of meat. The promise of real chicken feels hollow when the result doesn't even resemble the food it claims to be. Fast food nuggets may not be perfect, but at least the crunch is consistent. The frying process locks in a texture the freezer aisle has yet to capture. With frozen nuggets, companies try to cover these flaws. They double up on breading or push heavy dipping sauces, hoping you won't notice the soft interior. But every shortcut adds more starch, more oil, and less of the chicken you actually wanted. And here's the kicker. Heating them isn't just about taste, it's about safety. Microwaves don't heat evenly, so one nugget may be scalding hot while the one right next to it is half cold. That uneven cooking creates another risk: meat that isn't cooked through. Undercooked poultry isn't a minor slip. It can expose you to harmful bacteria with no warning sign on smell or taste. A quick snack isn't worth that gamble. Number 5. Mozzarella sticks. That disappoint. Everyone pictures golden mozzarella sticks when they grab a frozen box. You expect that first bite to give you a crisp shell and a ribbon of hot, stretchy cheese. The packaging makes the picture even stronger. Melted cheese oozing and crunchy breading that looks like it just came out of a fryer. That image sells the idea that you can get restaurant joy from your oven in 10 minutes. But here's the truth. What you actually get rarely matches the picture. Once you bake or microwave them, the problems show up fast. The cheese often leaks right out before you even take them off the tray, leaving you with empty crusts that are more air than filling. Instead of a smooth pull of mozzarella, you're staring at hollow shells with burned edges. That crispy crunch you were promised? The breading often soaks up too much grease during baking, turning soft and chewy instead of crisp. And here's the kicker. The stretch factor that makes mozzarella sticks fun is mostly lost in frozen versions. A fast food order can sit for a few minutes and still give you that gooey payoff. At home, you take them out of the oven only to find gummy cheese that clumps instead of stretches. The fun disappears, and what you're left with is a greasy stick you struggle to finish. The numbers don't add up either. Serving sizes are surprisingly small, sometimes only 4 or 5 pieces, yet the calorie count balloons. That means even the snack portion can load you with a heavy wall of fat, salt, and oil before you know it. You're not saving money, and you're not saving your health. Number 6. Pot pies that sink instead of comfort. A frozen pot pie looks safe. Golden crust on the box, a steam rising, hearty filling waiting inside. The image promises warm vegetables, rich gravy, and a comforting core of chicken or beef. It looks like a home-style meal in one neat package, and that promise is why so many people add it to their carts. But once you cook it, the cracks show fast. Here's the truth. What comes out is rarely the meal you pictured. The crust, instead of golden, turns soggy around the edges and hard on top. Crack it open and you find pockets of boiling gravy mixed with half-cooked vegetables. Some corners are bland and dry while the middle is scalding hot. It's like opening a pie shell and finding watered-down soup hiding inside instead of something hearty. And here's the kicker. Beyond the texture issue, frozen pot pies are loaded to the brim with fat and sodium. Many carry worse numbers than a full fast food combo meal. One serving can quietly push you past what your body needs for an entire day. That doesn't feel like comfort. It feels like a setback. The gravy itself isn't rich, but heavy, built on thickener and salt. The filling often skimps on the meat, leaving mostly sauce, and which only adds to the imbalance. Bottom line, pot pies trade real taste for fake comfort. They sell you an illusion of cozy, homemade food, but deliver a microwave accident waiting to happen. You're left with soggy pastry, questionable heating, and an overload of salt disguised as tradition. That's not comfort, it's trouble in a crust. Number 7. Pasta meals. That masquerade as Italian. Frozen pasta meals promise you the ease of a sit-down Italian dinner without the cost. The photo on the box makes it look polished. Noodles twirled neatly, creamy Alfredo glistening, or marinara glowing bright red with generous herbs. It looks like something you'd see set down at a restaurant table. That picture sells you a comforting shortcut, but once you cook it, the cracks appear instantly. Here's the truth. The pasta itself rarely survives freezing well. Instead of firm noodles, you get gummy strands that collapse under the fork. The sauce doesn't save it. Alfredo turns chalky and greasy, while marinara often tastes more like sugar water with a faint tomato kick. Meat portions are small and sometimes scattered so thin, you're left poking around for protein that isn't there. For all the promise of a hearty bowl, the plate ends up empty in taste and in substance. And here's the kicker. Overseas, even the cheapest fast food chain has offered pasta cups that taste more balanced and satisfying. A simple dollar menu serving can feel fresh enough, while the frozen version in your freezer costs more and tastes flat. You're not saving money, and you're not saving time either, since the prep still leaves you with disappointing results. Bottom line, frozen foods look like safe shortcuts, but many carry worse problems than fast food. Instead of quick comfort, you often get heavy salt, poor texture, and meals that raise your risk of fatigue, high blood pressure, or worse. That trade-off is hidden in glossy photos and clever labels, not in the food itself. Want the truth about what's really safe? Subscribe now so you won't get fooled. I'll show you which quick options deserve a spot in your kitchen and which ones should stay off your list. Sometimes the real problem isn't the drive-thru, it's the freezer aisle.